It all starts with you, right now, drawing breath in this exact irreplaceable pocket of time, before anything else, before the noise of the day, before the to-do lists and the old worries, as well as the familiar weight of who the world says you are. I want to ask you something. Truly ask in a way that rearranges something within you. Do you have any idea what you actually are? Because you are no coincidence. You're not a background noise drifting through the universe's long, indifferent story. You are the anointed one, summoned out of 400 trillion possible versions of a human being who never got to exist. Now trace back to your bloodline. Across the full staggering sweep of 150,000 generations, every ancestor who outran the plague, every great-great-grandmother who survived the winter no one else did, every great-great-grandfather who, against every reasonable odd, found the one person they were meant to find. In the right village, the right season, the right breath of history. Each of them could have stumbled, could have never met, could have chosen differently, but none of them did. And so the mathematics of you sitting here today stretches to 1 in 10 to the power of 2,685,000. It's like 2 million souls, each rolling a trillion side die, and every single one of them, across all of human time, landing on the exact same number, on the exact same turn. Your existence is not just improbable, it is, by the cold and honest calculus of mathematics, impossible. And yet here you are, breathing, feeling, hearing these words with ears, and seeing these images with eyes that no one else has ever seen the world through, and never will again. So, you are not here by accident. You are not here as a rough sketch. You are the original. From the precise, unrepeatable architecture of your mind, the way it weaves meaning out of chaos, navigates grief, catches beauty in the places others walk straight past, to the singular frequency you carry into every room you enter. Nobody else has your signature, and nobody else ever will. Whatever you create from that frequency, a piece of art, a child, a business, a quietly extraordinary, ordinary life, it is a flavor the universe has never tasted, and the universe has been waiting with great patience for you to offer it. Now, knowing all of that, let us talk about the world that tried to shape you before you had words to resist it. We didn't choose the family we were born into. Many of us have looked honestly at the chaos of our upbringing, the fractured silences, the love that arrived sideways or not at all, the wounds dressed up as discipline, and felt somewhere private and unspoken, what on earth was I thinking when I signed up for all of this? But what if you did? What if your soul, ancient and unafraid, chose the exact friction, the exact walls, the exact specific kind of darkness it needed to press against in order to discover the full, luminous force of what it was made of? What if the very thing that broke you open was always meant to be the door? For the moment we opened our eyes, the world went to work on us. It pressed thin, pre-printed blueprints into our small hands, documents telling us what was safe and what was dangerous, who to love and how to grieve, what success looked like and what poverty looked like, and which one to spend our lives afraid of. Rule by rule, expectation by expectation, the world boxed us in before we even knew we had wings, and slowly, we learned to make ourselves smaller to fit it. But humming softly underneath all of that conditioning, vibrating just below the surface of everything we were told to be, was the original you. Wild, unedited, magnetic, stubborn, yet beautifully alive. Think back, before the world got its hands on you, before it told you to be practical, to be reasonable, to want different things. What were the things that simply gravitated towards you without anyone asking you to? What lit you from the inside with no rational explanation, no justification you could put into a spreadsheet? What made you feel that electric, sun-drenched, inexplicable joy of simply existing? Whatever those things are, that was the real you. And that raw, radiant essence, that is precisely what got buried under the weight of everyone else's story about who you should be. Which is why everything we're doing here, everything we're rebuilding, is in service of one thing: returning you to that frequency. Not a house the world might approve of, but a house your soul remembers how to breathe in. Because I see that our existence is much like a house. We are born into it at a specific coordinate of the map, with its own particular shape, its own smell, its own way of holding its light or refusing the light. Some are modest sheds, others sprawling mansions. The exterior declares to the world which hierarchy we belong to, which invisible rules that are meant to govern us. And for a long time, it made us believe in it. And every house tells a completely different story the moment you step past the porch lights. And so many of the homes you were handed are far, far from whole, each one a different kind of beautiful, and each one a different kind of broken. The pillars that were supposed to hold a roof simply aren't there, like an absent father. You grew up moving through the rooms where the wind blew straight through the spaces where safety was meant to live. And so you learned quietly and without ceremony to build your own shelter from whatever was near. That self-sufficiency cost you something. It also made you impossible to shake. Sometimes you got handed the distant mother architect, where the walls are thick and beautifully painted, but freezing to the touch. No matter how close you stand, the warmth never quite crossed the room. You were not cold, the house was. And so you became someone who generates their own heat, who doesn't wait for permission to feel held. The lesson was brutal. What it built in you was extraordinary. And a lot of times, we had a combination of the well-meaning but broken-tooled parents, where the hearth was lit, the love was real as gravity, but the structure itself was warped by the timber of the generations before and the ones before that. They built your rooms with the only tools they were handed, cracked, outdated, and inherited. They loved you fiercely inside a frame that was never designed to hold you fully. But that's not a failure. That is the oldest, most human story there is. And it asks only one thing of you: to pick up better tools. Because there are a lot of houses that dazzle from the street and bleed quietly behind closed doors. Others are weathered, daunting, and unimpressive from the outside, yet hold the warmest tables and the most honest conversations, the kind of love that doesn't perform. And the facade has never, not once, been the whole story. It was only ever the invitation to look closer. No house is perfect, not a single one across the full length of human history. Not all that glimmers is gold. But what matters is that a house does not need to be made of gold to carry a beautiful frequency. True value lives in the spare changes that get someone through the night, in a smile that arrives unexpectedly and makes a stranger forget, just for one merciful moment, the full weight of their own story. The grandest mansion in the world cannot manufacture that. Family is a funny shape-shifting word. Sometimes it's a bloodline we are born into, but just as often, more powerfully and more tenderly, family is the chosen architects we find along the way. They are the people who built a porch for you when you're weary, when you have been through too long in the weather that wasn't kind. They look at your cracked foundation and they don't flinch. They sit down at the desk beside you and bring their tools. They hand you a key to the room inside yourself that you had no idea existed. They created the rare, irreplaceable space where your truest self can come out into the open air, without judgment, without agenda, without the performance of being fine. And from that place of being truly finally seen, from that porch with those people beside you, I also want you to know that you don't have to stay on the plot of land you were born into. Not now, not anymore, and not ever again if you choose. You can completely uproot. You can pack your spirit up carefully. Leave the old address in the rear view without cruelty or ceremony, and build a home somewhere the blueprint has never been. You don't need to carry a single piece of that original furniture to prove who you are or where you came from. Not the heirlooms, not the baggage, not the ghost weight of a structure that was never truly yours, but anything that of true value of your past, any warmth, any hard-won wisdom, any love that was genuinely real can be recreated inside of you at your new address in the exact form you need it now. The essence travels, only the weight gets left behind. You are, from this moment forward, the sole author, the master architect, the visionary with full sovereign authority over what this life looks like and feels like from the inside, not to impress the streets, not to win the comparison, simply because it is yours and you deserve to come home to something that feels like you. We live in a world that worships the mansion, that promises if you get the high-playing role, the curated life, the envy-invoking exterior, then you will finally see it, the arrival, the wholeness, the quiet proof that the struggle was worth it. But imagine if everyone got exactly that. Our human instinct and ancient restlessness would instantly need something to strive towards again. We would crave that contrast. The hunger does not disappear at the finish line. It just simply reshapes itself. So let yourself lean sometimes to the quiet. Let yourself inhabit a house the world has no need to applaud for. As long as it is filled with peace and good spirit, and a stillness you can actually hear yourself think in. Build a home within yourself that feels good to live in, not just ones that look good from the outside. And that extraordinary truth is that though we had no hand in the house we were born into, we are entirely in charge of the renovation. The blueprints of the past doesn't own us. They only inform us, if we let them, about exactly where the real work begins. The work's gonna take time. It takes patience, honest courage of discernment, learning to feel the difference between what needs to be demolished completely and what simply needs just your own touch, what only needs a window opened in the right place. Some foundations are shaky, built on the same unexamined pillars that governed every generations before yours. Some rooms hold things that once meant everything, that now we are ready to tenderly, bravely learning to release, not erasing them, but moving them gently into the archive of what once was, so they stop taking up space in the living room of who we are becoming. And yes, some of our houses have doors that creak with old grief, floors worn thin by too many sorrows that never got to speak, walls whose patterns belong to a version of us that have quietly been outgrown. And yet, there's alchemy. Look at it with love. Look at the full, imperfect, impossible picture of everything that assembled itself against all odds into you. Every crack, every cold room, every crooked wall, every door that never got to close right, all of it, precisely and perfectly, conspired to make the only thing that has ever mattered, which is you, awake, standing here and ready. The dark corners of the attic can finally be cleaned. The souvenirs from your travels, the places your soul wandered to, the moments that quietly rewrote you, can be brought home and hung as evidence of who you became along the way. The photographs of your chosen family can be set where the morning lights finds them first, and the entire character of the house can be transformed. From the loud, overstimulated life you were handed to the quiet, stunning elegance of wabi-sabi, the Japanese philosophy that finds its deepest perfection precisely in the weathered, the imperfect, the worn and still standing. We are not in control of the circumstances we arrived into, but we hold full sovereign, unassailable power over our healing, over the decision to understand where the wound began, to look at it clearly instead of around it, and to choose one room at a time, one wall at a time, to build something worthy of a life that was always waiting for us on the other side. So the story always loops back to the beginning. It starts and ends with you. When your journey here is finally complete, and the universe looks back at the plot of land you occupied, what will linger in the rooms you chose to build? What frequency will remain in the walls long after you're gone? Your presence is the present the universe needs, and now it's your time to make the ordinary extraordinarily your own. If this resonated, thank you for liking and subscribing. Until next time.